Good afternoon. My name is Jenna Campo, and this is the beginning of a new journey, a new focus on my YouTube channel. Today is July 23rd, 2024. It's my plan to go ahead and post this video pretty much as soon as I get done recording it here. Welcome. A little bit about myself. I am a wife, a mom, and just found out I'm going to be a grandma by the end of this year. Just found that out recently, so it's an exciting and very full, busy time in my life. I am an artisan soap maker. I have a small business with one of my daughters and hoping to add in some others in the next year or two. We're just kind of having fun being creative and enjoy that on our little small farm in West Michigan. My husband and I have been married for almost 35 years, and in total we have 5 kids. 3 are biological, and our 2 youngest were adopted from Ukraine, so that's part of our story too. They are only 2 years apart in age, but they came to us in 2008 and in 2021. So very different, interesting stories there. One of our daughters lives out in Idaho and is studying midwifery. And our oldest son lives in Illinois with his beautiful bride and their little one on the way. And the rest of us are currently at our little farm in Southwest Michigan and just exploring possibilities and trying to live a life that honors our Heavenly Father, our King Yeshua. And so our attempt is to have everything fall into that template and to pursue excellence with love and humility. And right now, my passion, aside from these responsibilities that I have that I take seriously and I don't want to drop the ball on those, but I feel like the Father has put something else in my lap and especially in my heart that I have to focus on, in part because I feel it's an actual assignment. So the passion and the urgency for it started with a conversation that I had with someone about 6 months ago, and it was a conversation in which this person told a little bit of her story of having been abused as a child, sexually abused. And in telling that story, she also mentioned that she had reported the abuse at least once to a person that you and I and her during that time would think would be a safe person who would step up to the plate and immediately come to her assistance. And that is not what happened. And so when I heard that conversation, it really gave me pause, more than pause. It just brought, I almost felt tangibly like it brought me to a screeching halt. And it brought me to the threshold of just realizing in that moment that I have heard similar stories over and over and over again for decades. And because I am very focused on my faith walk, a lot of what I do and a lot of the circles that I am connected in are also under that umbrella of our faith walk. And so the vast majority of these stories that I've heard of various types of abuse that have either been perpetrated by a church member or even by a person with some type of leadership position in the church or in a church affiliated school or organization. This is kind of the umbrella under which most of the stories that I hear have occurred. And with very, very few exceptions, none of these instances of abuse were ever reported to authorities. And as time goes on, I'm sure that my videos will include some thoughts about that, why it's been that way, why it is so often that way in our greater society. So many things are never reported, or they're never reported in an effective way that is going to make a difference in the situation or in our culture that is so permeated by abuse. So this conversation that I had 6 months ago really brought all of that to a forefront. It was like all of these different bits and pieces, these different stories that have been dotted through my life, suddenly came into great focus, and I realized I have to be a part. I have to be a part prayerfully of some kind of change. I feel like the Lord is calling me to focus primarily on helping people to be aware of the issue, of course, of sexual abuse. Helping people to be aware of how common it actually is, not only in our society, but very sadly in our churches. And I feel called to help people recognize the signs, not only of abuse, but also to learn to recognize perpetrators. We have well-intentioned people who are trying, but I've realized over my research in these last 6 months that most of us do not understand how to spot what I'm going to call red flag individuals. We don't know how to recognize the red flags, or just like in other situations in our lives, we may see a red flag, and for just a second we have sort of a gut check, but in our natural humanity, our mind right away goes to work to make sense of it, and we sometimes dismiss things that we shouldn't dismiss. So I'm learning, and I want to be a part of conveying that information to others so that we can all be better equipped. Once people become perpetrators of these things, I knew before this conversation, but I understand better because of that conversation and the research that I've done since then. I understand that our focus really cannot be on rehabilitating perpetrators, and I can go into that in future videos, but my focus is recognizing predatory behavior and helping people to understand what to do when these situations come up, because they will. And we need to be ready to help take care of the wounded, to know how to effectively deal with it, not only inside the church, but alongside and in partnership with law enforcement. It's extremely important. And again, I'm just giving you sort of a template, an outline of what I want to move forward and begin to address on these videos on my channel. What the Lord will do with my channel other than that, I have no idea. I just have no shred of doubt in my mind that this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And so here we are. I'm just going to throw out another statistic for you and explain another part of my heart in this. So I turned 60 last December. So I am past middle age. I'm very aware that, I may have another day of life. I may have another 15 years. I may have 30 years if the Lord so chooses, and I steward my life well. I have no idea. Statistically, I probably have about 20 years to play around with. And I don't want to play around with it. I want to steward it well, and I want to be where the Lord wants me to be. May that be joyful creativity, whether it's the soaps or other things, or happy grandparenting. I hope that it is just blessed with a variety of different endeavors, but I also know that He wants to use me in this. And one of the statistics that has blown me away, and I've been hearing it over and over and over again in these last months, so I know it's part of what He wants me to focus on, is that the average person, the average age of a person at the point that they report the experience of childhood sexual abuse, are you ready for it? Is 52. So I want you to look around you every day, no matter where you're at, what you're doing, and realize that means that there are people considerably younger who are just now telling their story, and there are people who are considerably older who are just now telling their story or haven't told it yet. They've been carrying this inside themselves for decades. I want to be a part of coming alongside people, letting them know that they have a safe place and a community where they can disclose these things and begin to heal and feel surrounded and supported. So I just wanted to put it out there. I think that some people close to me have seen that there's something heavy on my mind in these last few months, and I really have not known what to do with it. I know that it's already a heavy thing to carry and try to process myself. And I know that taking the step to do what the Father wants me to do in this area is going to mean that I'm exposing myself to things that none of us should even have to think about. But I believe He's equipping me and preparing me, and I believe He must be equipping and preparing others, and we just need to know about each other so we can walk it out together. So let's do this thing. I believe it's time for these things to come to light. We can't force it. Some people aren't ready to tell their stories. But sometimes when people do, when they come to their point where they're able to tell their stories, other things come to light, and it actually does become a relief to people around them. Maybe people that they've never even met face to face and won't until our King returns. But it's a very powerful thing. Testimonies are incredibly powerful. It helps us to realize we're not alone, not only in this type of situation, but just in life. We all have challenges in general, and it's just nice when we know that we're not the only ones, and we can kind of think out loud together and help each other make the journey. So let's do this thing. Let's start addressing this. Let's start putting faces and voices to this issue and just, it's not the word embrace is not what I'm looking for. I don't want to embrace the horrific stories. I want to acknowledge them, though. I want to say, if you are a person who has experienced abuse and you haven't been able to disclose it yet, you haven't gained that courage yet, I pray that you will. And I pray that in myself and in others the Lord is equipping, that you will find just a safe harbor to disclose when you're ready. And may we all be part of learning to be watchmen on the wall and to effectively address these things when they do come up. And I would appreciate your prayers as I move forward, however the Lord leads here. My goal is to post videos probably a couple of times a week. Tuesdays are highly likely. I don't know what the second day of the week will be yet, but I'm committed, and I just want to say that out loud and pray blessing on each of you wherever you are in your journeys, whatever stories you're carrying, and I will see you next time.